Here's a sentence I didn't think I would say this year. Louisville football's lost 3 straight. Louisville football just got thumped, embarrassed, blown out. Pick your choice of words. Down at SMU, 38-6. A Louisville offense scored 6 points. Wrap your head around that. Things are certainly trending downward for the Cardinals, who have 1 regular season game left. That's the Governor's Cup at L&N Stadium. What do you say we hike about this mess? Cardinals severely banged up going down to Dallas. They're without starting quarterback Miller Moss, without Isaac Brown, without Kewan Brown. Duke Watson's banged up. Chris Bell has been playing hurt. Antonio Watts, one of the MVPs of the defense this season, he was out. You couple all that with an offense that has sputtered all season long, a defense that has really shined most of the time through the 2025 season, but has a history of struggling against mobile quarterbacks, and as displayed in the game against Cal, might struggle against a quarterback that knows how to throw the ball pretty well. In SMU's quarterback, Kevin Jennings, the defense faced both of that. It was a game where everything just went wrong for the Cardinals. Thus, the 38-6 blowout. And keep in mind, Kevin Jennings didn't play the whole game. SMU started going with their 2nd and 3rd string. Still put some points on the board against the Cardinals. We usually dish out grades. I'll dish out some grades. We're going to do it real quick. Offensively, we saw Deuce Adams at quarterback. It was interesting, at least, to see a new face, some new blood at quarterback, and it looked promising on the first drive that ended up in a field goal. Then he got pulled for Brady Allen for a quick 3-and-out. Then he comes back and drives them down. They're able to score another field goal, and that was it. By then, SMU had figured out what Louisville can and can't do with their new quarterback, starting for the first time, and just shut down the Cardinals throughout. They weren't going to let Chris Bell beat them, and you got a running game that was basically down to a walk-on in Braxton Jennings, who gave it everything he can. Then he gets banged up, and then Sean Boykins, a former wide receiver, turned running back, saw Duke Watson for a little bit, but again, nicked up. He's not his normal self. No need to go any much deeper into what we saw for the offense or not, because it just played poorly. For their play at SMU, there's not really anything to get excited about over that one. Not really any stars to shine. We've seen Kewan Brown shine in recent losses. Didn't really have that at SMU, which is part of the problem. The offense, you're getting a D, which is probably kind of a little higher than it should be, but we'll go with a D. Had a brand new quarterback, banged up backfield. But as Jeff Brom says, the guys behind those starters have got to be ready. And they weren't. At least didn't seem like it. So a D for the offense. Let's just continue on with the defense. Worst outing of the season. I think losing Antonio Watts certainly played a role, but I think even if he's there, still a really tough game for this Cardinals defense. Kevin Jennings looked like he could basically do anything he wanted against the Cardinals. Trying to think of a bright moment, a flop to draw a 15-yard penalty early on to force SMU to punt on their 2nd series. That's something to remember. For their play against SMU, the defense, you're also getting a D. Kind of feels a little high as well. Maybe I've got a curve going on. Special teams. It's good to see Cooper Ranvier convert his field goal attempts. That was about it to speak of the special teams. But special teams, we'll go ahead and we'll give you a C+. So we got a couple D's and a C+. So it's Thanksgiving week. I'm actually down in Northeast Florida for visiting some family just north of the Jacksonville area. Hope you guys have a great Thanksgiving. If you're watching this before, or if you're watching it after Thanksgiving, hope you had a great Thanksgiving. Had some good time with family and friends. And while Louisville basketball has helped keeping Card Nation pretty pleased, the continued downward trend for Louisville football is kind of tamping down the excitement for Louisville basketball a little bit. 3 losses in a row will do that. 4 on the season, for a season that began with so much hype and potential. The goal of competing for a spot in the ACC championship started to become a reality. 7-1. Cardinals were in the top 15 of the college football playoff, and then everything just seemed to file out from underneath them. Recruiting wise, that's taken a hit as well. We've got decommits happening, including a local kid in Karsten Bush. Signing day is getting here quick. It needs to get here quickly. But that's just a continued red flag of what's happening. And there's reasons for it all you could point to. Clearly on the field product, you can point to the numerous injuries. But it goes deeper than that. It's a stagnant offense. I said in my previous video and in ones before, like, I can't believe we're having these type of concerns about a Louisville offense under the direction of Jeff Brom. I do think it's a temporary thing. I think they'll find answers for next year, but we're still in this year. And yeah, that's been surprising. A Louisville offense only scoring 6 points under Jeff Brom. That's not what you expect. So you've got a football program right now that's dropped 4 games, 3 in a row. The last one being the ugliest loss Louisville has taken since, what, the 2019 season when Kentucky thumped them? And now you've got Kentucky coming up next, and there's worries a similar result could now happen at L&N Stadium this coming Saturday. Never would have thought that either. But that's where we are. So you've got Kentucky coming in this Saturday. Louisville opens as an early 3.5-point favorite. It may drop, especially with the news of Chris Bell being out. Add him to the lengthy list of guys that are banged up and either not going to play or going to try and play hurt to get Louisville this big win. I mean, it's a rivalry game. You want to finish the regular season over a win over your rival. But what to expect is kind of more of the same. Jeff Brom made the comment, you know, since they're putting some in new guys, maybe it's just time to let it rip, so to speak. Let them just go out and fling it around. Those are my words, not his. It's me paraphrasing. Will that work? I don't know. You're using guys that haven't played much all year long. As Jeff Brom has said multiple times, those guys, the second team, third team guys, need to be ready. And maybe even if they are ready, they might just not be fully ready for that type of needed impact. So if you're asking me what I'm expecting, kind of like I said in my last video prior to SMU, I'm expecting more of the same. I don't think Louisville's going to get thrown around and just kind of raced over like the Mustangs did against the Cardinals. I expect it to be a good game, something that I didn't anticipate a month ago. I thought Louisville would win this one easily going away in the fourth quarter and be one of those where in the fourth quarter, Card Nation's partying at L&N Stadium. I don't expect that to happen. If there's any partying, it's going to be happening right at the very end. I'm concerned, though, that it could end up being a 4th straight loss for the Cardinals. Kentucky's playing better. Cutter Boley, their quarterback, I think, has the potential to give Louisville some problems. So they've got to get focused and be prepared for what they're going to see. Am I going to make a pick on the Louisville-Kentucky game right now? If I'm making a pick, maybe it's because I've got some rose-colored glasses on or because my blood runs red or whatever reason you want to think. But I'm going to give Louisville the slight edge. They're playing at home, although I think because of the recent slump, it's going to open the door for even more Cat fans to to make their way into L&N Stadium and see if they can continue to add on to the spoil of what has happened to Louisville's football season. Of course, on Louisville's side, they could put the nail in Kentucky's regular season and not allow them to go to a bowl game. End up their season with a losing record. But so yeah, I'm gonna take. Right now. I'm still gonna lean towards a very slim Louisville win. I'm gonna give Louisville a 1 or 2 point victory. But check with me again later on in the week at Cardinal Authority when we make our official predictions and see how I'm feeling when I do that. So what are the answers? I think for 2025, the only question that remains, I guess, is how do you beat Kentucky? We'll find out on Saturday. But really, it's the grander scheme. It's more for 2026 and beyond. Recruiting, obviously, is key. Right now, recruiting their 2025 class taking a hit as multiple guys have decommitted and are heading elsewhere. I do anticipate that Louisville will add and probably get a couple guys to flip their way as well. But it all comes down to, well, not all of it, but much of it comes down to these days, even at the high school level and growing more at the high school level, your ability and decision making in the NIL department. How much do you invest in the high school recruiting? How much do you invest in the transfer portal? Both are now part of college football. Both are very important. And my belief is that's where the primary focus needs to be, recruiting. Both high school, which they're about to wrap up with signing day coming, December 3rd. And then the focus goes straight into the portal. And you've got to sign some big time additions out of the portal, guys that can be impact players immediately upon arrival. I mean, that's part of the reason that you have a portal, and not all of them are hits. You have some busts, and that's to be expected out of the portal. Same with high school recruiting. So you've got to really do a great job of evaluating and deciding where do we want to put all of our funds. How much do we want to spread it out? How much do we want to invest in a big time potential quarterback or a defensive lineman or whatever the case may be? Those are the decisions I think that are going to be the impact of how Louisville progresses from here, how 2026 will go and beyond. The sun is certainly setting on Louisville's 2025 season, and not the way that we anticipated. You know, my hope is they can finish this out with a win over Kentucky, get your bowl bid, hopefully somewhere warm, although those chances are diminishing as well as the losses have mounted up, and win that game. Finish out 9-4, and with a win over Kentucky, keep the Governor's Cup at home, win a bowl game, and you've got momentum going into 2026. You've built some positivity. So for me, I think, yeah, your answer for 2026, how to fix this, starts with recruiting. I know there's some that are saying, and rightfully so to have these concerns, staff changes. How will that evolve? Will it evolve in any form or fashion? In college sports, especially in college football, it's kind of commonplace to see staff members come and go. Jeff Brom's done a great job. He's got a great group. They've stuck around and they work well together. But sometimes changes need to be made. I'm not sure they will be. And if they are, what changes will be made? So that's something to certainly monitor during the off season. Most of my fingers when I'm pointing at what happened to 2025 is injuries and offense. You can point the finger if you want at special teams versus Clemson, and yeah, if Cooper Ranvier or Nick Keller would have hit that late field goal, Louisville comes out of there with a win. Louisville should have never been in a position to have to need those kind of long distance field goals to win that game. That's a game, if Louisville was clicking, should have won easily. Save the whales, right? Need to save the Cardinals. Is that too cheesy? a win over Kentucky can certainly help save the 2025 season for the Cardinals, that's for sure. I know some people are clamoring for staff changes. Could that happen? It's kind of common in college football to see some staff changes. We haven't really seen it with Jeff Brom. He likes to keep things kind of, loyalty seems like a big thing, and you like that. Guys that you've been around, that you can trust, that you know, that's important. But when a team's struggling, all things are probably on the table to be evaluated. So that's certainly something to watch once the offseason arrives, is what will happen with the staff, if anything. And when we're talking staff, that also includes Jeff Brom. It was reported obviously weeks ago that there was an extension in the works with athletic director Josh Hurd for Jeff Brom. I mean, the country was buzzing about Jeff Brom. His name was popping up on hot boards for multiple schools, including, especially with Penn State. Where with that, I mean, when you're 7-1, yeah, let's get this guy wrapped up. That's what the conversation was, and all of a sudden you lose 3 straight, including 2 at home that you probably should have won. How do you handle the contract extension? I still think that's something that gets done. I don't anticipate it being anything that's going to be announced anytime soon. If I had to guess, the contract extension will be finalized and announced January, February, during spring practice. I don't know. It's a tough spot right now. So I'm hopeful that Louisville will finish the regular season 8-4 with a win over Kentucky to keep the Governor's Cup where it should be at the Howard Schnellenberger Complex, L&N Stadium. Get their bowl game, whichever it may be at this point. Win that game, finish up 9-4, you get some positive momentum going. Get a great portal recruiting class. Lift those spirits, get us excited for 2026. We'll discuss it all as it unfolds. We'll hike after Kentucky. We'll hike after the bowl game and anything else that may develop with the recruiting class, portal class, any staff changes, any other notable news. We'll be sure to hike about it. So make sure if you haven't yet, go ahead and subscribe. I appreciate that. Give it a like, share it with your friends. That way you won't miss out on any of those upcoming future hikes. For now, I appreciate you going hiking with Michael McCammon.